Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm going to be drawing an owl. I am drawing the laughing owl. The Maori name is Wakao. Oh, I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. My pronunciations aren't 100% the best. I am doing Extinction for the theme of January's drawing challenge. This isn't a formal drawing challenge that somebody came up with. This was just something I wanted to do because I've never done it before. And I love animals. I love drawing animals. It becomes harder and harder to find ones I've never drawn, the more you draw. So while I've drawn a few dodos and great auks, which is a penguin descendant that is extinct, and I think I've done one Tasmanian wolf. There's just a bunch I've never drawn, and this is the excuse for it. So I will link all the products I'm using in the description box. I will link how I got here, why this is the way it is. These are the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I have the 36 set, and then I purchased an additional half dozen of convenience colors, which consist of a lot of browns, because again, fur, and I love drawing animals. I have 3 or 4 Caran d'Ache Luminance. This is the Carmine Lake. This is a convenience color. Again, I don't own a huge set of any one thing. I kind of buy the minimum of what I need, and then I think these eyes are going to be too big. I buy the minimum of what I need, and then as I go and create, I end up purchasing more as needed. But again, my purchases are very strategic. I'm going to explain, for those of you that are new to my channel, hi, welcome. If you've been following my channel for the past couple of years, this is going to be a recap you're familiar with. Thank you for your patience. I can't always control when people find my channel or find a video out of context, so it's always nice just to give a little bit of backstory as to what's going on and the method to my madness. So basically, I'm an artist, I'm an illustrator. I have a graphic design degree, but art and drawing are just my passions. In 2020, during the pandemic, I took that year off. I didn't draw a thing. I relaxed. We figured out how to homeschool our 3 children, my husband and I, and yeah, that's what I did for 2020. So in 2021, I came back with a vengeance and started drawing every day, and then started purchasing and buying. And I purchased and bought all the things. I over-purchased, and I fell for a lot of sort of, I wouldn't say gimmicky, but I definitely fell for the scarcity mentality when it comes to things being discontinued or things being limited edition. And I over-purchased sketchbooks specifically. Gosh. And in doing so, I have so many, and I am currently using them up. So this sketchbook I'm using is a Leuchtturm. It is an A6. It is orange. They no longer sell A6 size, and they definitely don't sell anything that's orange. And I apologize for that, because I don't like to show and highlight art supplies that you yourself can't purchase. But as part of my low buy and using what I have and shopping my own stash and trying to set a good example for you, for my children, for myself, I have to use the things that are in my shelf. I will show you. So orange, it's a choice. I purchased that sketchbook in many colors. I didn't get all of them. There was a pink one and a white one. I've slowly been filling them. It's been taking a while. I have I think a dozen sketchbooks left. I'm going to be using up. That is the goal for the year, to use up all the sketchbooks that I have. And then going into 2026, making better purchase choices. So there was a pink one and a white one. I think a black one. I will link sketchbook tours. This is the one I did in October. It's all botanicals. If you're into leaves. This was the Fall Fungi Challenge. If you're into mycology and mushrooms, that was a ton of fun. December, I love birds. And this was pen and ink with some Derwent blocks. Again, And then this was my bug book, and I did hand lettering with insects for Junebug, one drawing challenge. So a lot of drawing challenges. I've never done extinction. The closest I've come to extinction is this one, and this one is March of the Robots, and these are animals that are endangered, critically endangered, threatened, and then I kind of gave them robotic fine liner background things. So this is the closest I've gotten to extinct. This is just a bent paper clip to hold my stuff. Hold it open. There are many things I didn't anticipate. So this paper is better for dry media. I can't watercolor with this paper, and half my media that I own, like the tools I own to create, are wet media. So going into my next purchases, I will have to make sure that they're either more mixed media sketchbooks or that I allow for very specific watercolor sketchbooks. It just has to be more strategic and better thought out. I have to make better choices. There's nothing wrong with this paper. It's fine. They've switched to 150 GSM. This is their old 180. They also switched some colors. I think they have wine, denim, yellow, black. I will link in the description box what they offer now as far as sketchbooks. I know they have a bunch of journals and bullet journals and things in a wider variety of colors. But I am using these things up. I'm trying to set a better example. Again, I apologize that you cannot get this sketchbook anymore, but I have to use the things I have. And I don't know, I think I was having like a wild hair, and I was like, yes, orange. I own nothing that's orange. There's a reason I don't own anything that's orange, and it's because I don't do things that are orange. Like, that's not a color that really heavily speaks to me. So yeah, it's a choice. I did not anticipate this drawing challenge to be so sad. This is a very sad drawing challenge. And what I've decided to do, and I was thinking about this last night because it's just really sad drawing things that don't exist anymore. And this bird went extinct in 1914. And that's sad. I think I'm going to bookend this year. So I'm going to start this year, January, with this A6 of extinction. And then in December, I'm going to finish the last A6 one I have of doing newly discovered species. And this might, I don't know how far back I'm going to go, and if it's just going to be animals. I might include newly found botanicals as well. But I think that would be a really nice, sweet way of bringing joy and making it positive and looking to the future and sort of ending the year. So that's my intentionality for that. These drawings I've been doing, I started with, who are you? You are, I made notes. This is the slender billed curlew, and I need to figure out how I'm going to do the name and the year. So this bird went extinct last year in 2024, and I have the western rhino, I have a golden toad, I have a bat, and a dinosaur. I love dinosaurs. I love bats. In my top 10 favorite animals, the rhino will always be one. He will always be there. I love him so much. Love rhinos. They have my heart. So these drawings have been taking anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours a piece. It is not a fast going thing. I typically don't draw more than 3 hours a day. That's not really hand cramps. I'm 45, so I have to be real gentle with my hands. I need them to last me a long time. So what I've been doing is I've been dividing my time and splitting it. So I do an hour and a half of the first illustration, and then I come back a half an hour later and do the second one. I am squishing this 48 page sketchbook into a 31-day month, which is absolutely fine. That's part of the challenge. So if you are going into 2025 and you want to do more art and you want to create more art and live a more artful life, and just really keep on keeping on with your goals and some of the things that you really want to achieve and have and do. Pay attention to the amount of newness when doing a thing. So if you're doing an art challenge where you're drawing every day, and that's something you're familiar with and you've done before and it's been fine, then keep on going. If you're not familiar with drawing every day or doing sort of a pressurized drawing challenge, like sometimes these tend to feel a little bit of pressure, consider your media, the tools you're using, and consider the surfaces you're creating on. Because if you've never done a drawing challenge before and you're using a medium you're not familiar with on a surface you've never used before, drawing something you're not familiar with drawing, it is going to be a huge challenge. And one of the things to be mindful of, I've done drawing challenges back to back to back for years in a row. In 2024, I did the Midori Hibino every single day. In 2023, I did Astrology 365. In 2022, I think I did 14 drawing challenges. I overlapped a couple. What you want to be mindful of is the amount of whelm. So you don't want to be overwhelmed, because that can lead to burnout, artist block. And you don't really want to be underwhelmed, because that also can be really detrimental to creating and having artist block and artist burnout. So if you're drawing the same things you always draw with the tools you always use on the paper you always create on, you could get bored, and that could be also detrimental. So my best piece of advice is to calculate how much stress and pressure you're giving yourself with what you're creating and what you plan on doing. Maybe you want to do a drawing every other day. So assess how busy that month is, assess what you want it to look like, figure out if you have the time constraints, like if you have a lot of appointments coming up in the month, but you still really want to try a drawing challenge, consider a timed challenge. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. If you're doing wet media, you may need to do 15 or 20. I tried doing a 10-minute watercolor challenge. I think this was back in 2017. And the setup gets into the time, and so does the cleanup. So you really only paint for like 5 minutes, because cleaning brushes and cleaning things off and stuff and putting things away, especially if you have like young kids or your pets and things, you can't leave stuff out. That definitely eats into the time. So you could do a timed challenge. You can work really, really tiny. I think that was September of 2018. I did 1-inch illustrations with a fine liner micron, and they were birds. That was part of a online drawing challenge that was a ton of fun, and those are quick, but oh my goodness, go gadget eyes. I really, really needed some like magnifying readers for some of that to make sure I was getting some of the detail in. So the folks that work small, like Lorraine Lutz, she did the illustration for ants. I will throw out pictures and stuff. Like, I don't know how. I don't know how folks do tiny all the time. It's just, it blows my mind. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right, that looks a little bit better. You could see it a little bit more of what I'm doing here. Anyway, so that would be helpful, doing things like that. Just giving yourself a break, especially if you're trying to get into a new habit, create a new habit for the new year. I don't know if folks are talking about ways to go about that. Like, we all have goals and things we want to achieve for 2025, but going about that and trying to incorporate that and make that a reality. Like, we can talk about all this stuff, but unless we start like putting in the work, it's just going to be talk. So trying to incorporate stuff, I find personally, when I'm trying to create a new habit or do something new, like have something new in my life, habit stacking is the easiest way for me to do that and be successful. And habit stacking just means that I take a different habit and I stack the new one on top of it. So if you want to draw 5-10 minutes a day, have your sketchbooks near some place that you are standing of something you already do that's a ritual every day. So my best example would be like in the morning, if you're getting a cup of coffee or tea or something to drink, having a sketchbook right near there while your coffee is like percolating or something. I don't know, I don't drink coffee. Forgive me, I don't know the words. But while your coffee is doing its thing, grinding its beans, have your sketchbook there. And while it's working, you know, do a couple 5-minute illustrations and do that every morning. And you've stacked one habit on top of the other. You've stacked drawing on top of just getting your morning coffee and sort of relaxing in the morning. And that could be built into your morning routine. And then it's much easier to keep that as a habit and incorporate this newness into your life and making sure that you are doing the things that you enjoy doing, that you love to do, that you want to have. That's why they're the goals you set. So you're like, it takes a long time for this realism. It's like every little line kind of counts here. So that's how I incorporate a new habit, is I stack it onto something else. Creating a habit from no habits tends to cut into free time or self-care time, and you need both of those. You need free time in your life, you need daydream time, you need self-care time. All that helps your mental health, because your mental health directly impacts your creative health. And, you know, making sure you don't get that artist block, that artist burnout. And it's okay to have the block and have the burnout. Like, that happens to all of us. Absolutely, 100%. I have sat here in drawing challenges where I know I have to draw something. I think the hardest one was the insect one. This one was really, really hard. And there were a couple days where I was like sitting there. I sat for an hour and I was like, I don't know, I'm not in the mood. But I knew that once I was done with this, I would be super, super proud. So aren't insects wild? They're so much fun. If you're into entomology, that's a really fun subject matter, because there's just so many wild colors. And you could literally do like a beetles book and have it just be all different beetles. It'd be funny for Junebug if you wanted to do that. There's so many drawing challenges. I link them in my stories in my Instagram, in case you're like, I don't know how to find those. I do have a playlist of some of the more popular ones per month. I can link that as well in the description box in case you're curious. If you don't have Instagram, I do not blame you. Social networking takes a lot of time, and it does cut into creative time. So the other thing would be to like calculate how you spend your day. Like, just keep a little journal, a little book. It could be the back of a receipt, and just write down what you do for every hour and see how you spend your time. And maybe you're not allocating the right amounts of time in the right places for your free time and for your art time. And that could be why you're having trouble incorporating more art and creating more art in your life. There could be all kinds of reasons. You kind of have to sit down with yourself and be real brutally honest and start reflecting on some of that. I have a pencil extender. This is the Generals. I also have a pencil holder. This is the Sonic, but they're two different things, the extender versus the holder. The extender lets you have, oh, and he needs to be sharpened. I have a Mobius Rupert. This is a brass. Only because you can take the blades out. I have extra blades. So I do that. I replace the blades once in a while. Okay. So, yep. All the things, all the drawing things, setting the tone for the year you go into a drawing challenge. Maybe drawing challenges aren't for you. They're not for a lot of people. And if you feel pressure to do one or try one, analyze that, you know, sort of sit with yourself and self-reflect. Is that something that realistically sounds like a good time? Maybe it sounds like a lot of stress. And if art is your fun time, it's your hobby time, it's your relaxation time, maybe you don't want to mess with that and add a stressful component. I've asked this question in a couple different videos in the past, like, what happens to your hobbies when art becomes your job? And the answer is you need other hobbies, or you need some fun art things that aren't for commissions, that aren't for clients, that aren't for work. And that's what these drawing challenges are for me. These are my fun time. These are for me, these are for you. This is me utilizing my supplies, analyzing my purchases, and then trying to grow as an artist. And the only way I know how to grow as an artist, how to get better as an illustrator, how to get better with my art is to practice and practice and practice. And it's every day. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to get better, it's gotta be something you practice, like learning an instrument or learning a new language. If those are goals or things you want to achieve, it's daily practice. So art is like that. And when you commit to one medium, like I am doing colored pencils, when you do one medium every single day for 30 days, you definitely notice a difference, like your comfort level, how quickly you can create an item versus like when you're first starting out with something. You get a little quicker, you get more confident, and being more confident helps you create more. So it's all sort of a self-feeding thing that really helps. It all helps. It's kind of getting in there and getting out of your own head. There's a book. It's called Make Your Art No Matter What. And if you're interested, if you're having trouble creating because your mind is like telling you no, and maybe it's a harsh critic or something, that's a really good book. Check your local library, see if they have it. Check their purchasing policy if they don't have it, see if they're willing to pick it up. Or check bookfinder.com. Look for gently used copies. I don't know if you're also doing a low-buy art supply, or you're on a budget or a limited income. There are places you can check for gently used books to sort of save some money and keep to your goals. And that's how I do it. I try and buy used as much as possible. And then that keeps books in circulation. It's kind of a recycling thing, you know. Oh, this owl is so cute. I can't even. I know, that's why this drawing challenge is a little bit of a bummer. And then the other problem with this drawing challenge that I did not anticipate, there's so much I didn't anticipate, was that there's some animals and they like haven't, like there were a couple other owls that were listed on Wikipedia as extinct, and then I went to search what year they went extinct, and it was like, okay, so this bird hasn't been seen since 1866, not officially extinct. So somebody has to like make that judgment call. This bird is extinct. And so there's some things I'm not drawing because there isn't a definitive year. And that's kind of an interesting one. The other thing is design versus art. Like there's the designer in me versus the artist in me when I go to do something like this. And the artist in me is like, yes, draw all the things. We will draw everything. It's going to be amazing. We're going to throw paint around. It's going to be fantastic. And then the designer in me is going, no, calm down. No, we need that a little bit more. Not so much slapdash. We need that more organized. We need this to look better. So for this sketchbook, I contemplated putting this together a couple different ways. And one of them was going by year extinct. So start with the newest extinct species and then go all the way through. So the last pages would be the oldest, most extinct. But I realized in making a choice like that I would have a lot of birds in the beginning of the book. and then end with a lot of dinosaurs. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think visually having the species sort of clumped in a more predictable manner isn't as visually interesting from a design standpoint. So, I know, this is what my brain does. Welcome to my brain. I made the executive decision of, I know, and I'm trying to rub this in and blend it a little out. I made the executive decision of just making it kind of random in the sense that, because this could be a lot of birds and just dinosaurs, that could be like an absolute choice, especially if you love dinosaurs and you don't draw them as much as you want to. That I was gonna, every fifth one in this book is going to be a bird, and like every fourth or fifth one is going to be a dinosaur. So it's not going to be 100% all of one thing, and they're not going to be clumped in a way that's predictable, but it is going to be systematic in a way that is appealing design-wise, if that makes sense. That's what my brain did. That's what my brain decided on. It said, you know what you should do? And then made all these choices. So that's kind of how I'm curating this sketchbook. That's the method to this madness. That way they're not all clumped in a predictable manner, because I just think it would get boring if I'm like bird, 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 and then we're like all of a sudden elk, toad, snake, and then it's dinosaur, dinosaur, dinosaur. So, and then I also thought about like another way to organize this would be geographically. Like I'm moving from one continent to the other as I go through. But that also could leave like several birds in order. And then what country do I start with? Do I play favorites? You know, I live in North America. Would I start with North American extinct animals? I love animals of Africa. Do I pick that continent because I just love those animals so much? Like, how would I do that? So I just opted for this way. Start with a bird, and then every fifth one's a bird. Yep. So that is how I'm curating this sketchbook. When I go to do the sketchbook tour, you will see more things that I have put into my thought process of alignment and stuff. I need to figure out a labeling system. I need to figure out how to incorporate that. If I'm going to add like an ink element for the name, for the year, do I want to highlight the year? Is that a bummer? I need to think about some of this stuff a little bit. And you can see why it takes me so long. Why it takes me so long to draw. Because there's just so many things. There's so many things to think about. There's so many things to incorporate. So yeah, animals, which February will be a mixed media with light animals, but it won't be quite such a sad topic. And I apologize. Again, it never occurred to me that this was going to be so sad, like emotionally. I thought, yeah, like it'll be factual. I will learn things. I will learn about new species. I will draw things I've never drawn before in a timed manner that's tight and a challenge for me, but I am using a medium I'm familiar with, a surface I'm familiar with, so it won't be too much overwhelm. And then I was drawing the rhino and I was like, oh, this is sad. Oh, I love rhinos so much. Really hoping when I get to December and I do new species and discovered species that by then they've found a new rhino. I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed for that. Please find a new rhino. I love them. Okay. So I'm not going to make you sit here for an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how long it's going to take me to figure out all the colorings and stuff of this beautiful owl. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you checking out what I'm doing. I appreciate, you leaving comments or emailing me. I love emails. I try to get back to emails within 48 hours. So I'm much better at emails than I am with video comments. But I do try. So I think it's important, This is the community where we are creative and we ask questions and we want to learn things and we want to try new stuff. And, this is a great place for that. Like, I love the art community of YouTube. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to see or me talk about different like color pencil techniques for things, we can do a little bit of that, probably next week's video, depending on what I'm drawing next week. I don't even know. I gotta make sure it's not a bird if I'm doing a bird for this one. That way, you know. And the other thing with this is like, I don't really, like, I can choose how many birds I do and how many dinosaurs I do, but I can't choose which bird I do. So the other part of the designer in me is like, I want some blue animals in here. I need some purple birds. Like, I need purple birds, but there aren't any. So I may get really creative with some of the dinosaurs to include a more even color distribution. Otherwise, this is going to be like a lot of brown. And I love brown, but if every drawing is brown, they're really going to start to blend into each other. So I need some like dynamic colors in here. And since they don't know what color dinosaurs were. Oh, this video is factually all over the place. They have no idea. So, and they're like, well, we just assume browns and greens because when they want to blend in. But if we're being for real, let's be for real about it. If you're 30 feet long and 2 to 3 tons, like you weigh 2,000 pounds, what is camouflage gonna do for you? You are the mountain. You literally are. Like, you're huge. Not you specifically, but the dinosaur is huge. Like, it's massive. Does it really have to be in browns and greens? Can this dinosaur not be like pink polka dots? I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to incorporate that and figure out a way to incorporate some of this orange because, again, it's not a color I gravitate towards. I'm very much like a blues, greens, purples. I like my moody colors. I like my jewel tones. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Like, I have no idea how to do that. But I just think it's funny that, like, when they go to do a recreation and, you know, some of these, they just have pieces of skull and they're like, well, it kind of looks like this animal's skull. And we could tell by the size that it was probably bigger. And then they just go and they like create a whole body and decide it looks like X, Y, and Z, which is wild. So if they're gonna do that, we gotta, no, more dinosaurs were definitely purple. So I'm gonna figure out how to slip in some wild colors in this. So I'm not like just unevenly using some of my colors. I mean, I play favorites anyway, but I don't want to do that. I want some weird stuff in here, you know? And if you look at the color wheel, the colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel are complementary. So for this bright orange, having more blue things or little spots of blue in some of these illustrations really highlight the orange and bring that out and complement that. So from a color theory standpoint, like we need some blue in here, we need some purple. It'll be fun. It's my idea of a good time. So, yeah. Welcome to me trying to use up my products, my sketchbooks. Hopefully I become better at illustrating this year. My plan is for 12 drawing challenges. I'm not going to overlap an entire one on top of another one. I think it's just enough that I'm using all my sketchbooks up. So you're gonna see some wonky sketchbooks. I have some limited edition like Kokios. I have some more Leuchtturms. I have some A4s that are discontinued. I don't have a lot of stuff for my wet media, so I have a roll of Strathmore 500. It's the mixed media 100% cotton. And I am going to bind a sketchbook. I'm going to figure out the binding. When we get to the end of March and we start looking towards April, we're going to talk book binding. We're going to talk all kinds of things on this channel. So I've done a few bindings already. I've done a piano hinge. I've done a Coptic. I've done the stab, the 4-hole Japanese. Ooh, I don't know the name of that one. Yeah. So I've done a few different bindings and I haven't found my perfect one yet. So we're gonna we're gonna mess around with that in April. That's gonna end of March. So, I know. Oh, isn't he cute? I love him. I love him already. He's adorable. A laughing owl. I don't know. I live where there's the northern spotted owl, and they are endangered because of their specific living requirements are extreme. And so another owl moved in, the barred owl, and they don't need all the things that the northern spotted owl needs. So they are coming in and taking over. So this is definitely like a relevant thing to me and my life and my area. And that's something we're always kind of cognizant of with the birds and the condor releases that are really, really cool that they do here. Yeah, forest living, baby. So I'm gonna keep furring one little stroke at a time. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. I will do a video on Monday that will get uploaded later in the afternoon on Monday, going through my planner and figuring out the accountability for what I did for the week and how that's looking, and if there's anything I want to sort of tweak or change. Like, I'm going to do that on Monday. So that'll be fun for my planner folks because I like keeping organized. Setting intentions for the year and goals for the year. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So it is really important that I stay organized, that helps motivate me and keep me accountable, and that helps with all my things on my end. So I just have to remember, eat right, sleep well, hydrate, exercise, and we can get through the year creating all the art we want to make, having the best time. So I look forward to it. This is a good start. It'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.